Well, hey everyone out there, thanks for choosing our short explanation of the game Brothers. It's Chris here from JMNC Games, and today we've got a 2 or 4 player game where you have two brothers who are raising animals. One raises the wabbits and the other raises the gobbles, and every year they fight over the space in the meadow for setting up their pens. And that is what you're going to be doing. You're going to take on the role of one of the brothers. Will you be the wabbit farmer? Will you be the gobble farmer? And we'll see who gets the most land in the game. The game itself takes about 15 minutes to play and is for ages 8 and up. If you haven't already done so, please take a moment to like and subscribe to our channel. We certainly do appreciate that, and it sure does help us grow. Now let's dive in and take a look at what's inside the box.
There's 12 board tiles called the Meadow, 12 straight tiles, which are the wabbit pens, and 12 L-shaped tiles, which are the gobble pens. To set up, one player takes the wabbit pens and the other player takes the gobble pens. Place all of the meadow tiles near the center for both players to be able to reach. The game is played in 2 rounds, and in each round there are 2 phases. The first phase is laying out the meadow. Players alternatively take a meadow tile and lay it in the center of the playing area. Once the first piece is played, each piece played after must connect to another tile in the meadow. The contact point can be multiple edges, but it must at minimum share one edge. Tiles are not allowed to overlap. Once all of the meadow pieces have been laid out, it's time for the next phase of building the pens. The player who has the wabbits will always go first. They take one of their tiles and lay it over one of the pieces of the meadow. It must lay out exactly and not have any parts hanging off of the tiles. Now the player with the gobbles places their tile, following the same rules. They must fit over 3 meadow tiles. It cannot hang off or go over one of the wabbit pens. Players alternate turns until they can no longer place any of their pens on the meadow. If your opponent cannot place a tile, but you can, you continue to place tiles until you are no longer able. Once both players are no longer able to place their pens, it's now time to score the round. Each player counts how many pens they were not able to place in the meadow. The player with the wabbits scores 1 point for every pen that they have left over. The player with the gobbles scores 2 points for every pen that they have left over. Keep note of your score from round 1 as it is needed again at the end of round 2. In round 2, the players switch pens. The meadow is set up in the same way as it was in round 1. Players alternate turns in placing the meadow following the same rules as before. Once the new meadow is set up, play again begins with the player who has the wabbits, using the same rules and placement from round 1. Once both players are no longer able to place any of their pieces, it's time to count up the score. The score is done the same as it is in round 1. Wabbits score 1 per piece left over, and gobbles score 2 per piece. Add that to your score from round 1, and the player who has the lowest overall score is the winner of the game. If you are going to play a 4-player version of the game, players play in 2 teams of 2, separating the pieces in half, and play goes clockwise around the table. But players are not allowed to communicate with their partner on where they will place their pieces.
And so that is Brothers. Thanks for joining us today. We sure hope you enjoyed our explanation on Brothers. And if you got any questions on the game or strategy play, please feel free to drop them down in the comments below, and I'll be sure to answer those as quickly as I can. And while you're there, if you haven't already done so, take a moment to like and subscribe to our channel. We certainly do appreciate that, and putting out new videos all the time. Well, now we know the basics, so let's play.